Diggity what?
Under the rock now!
Time for YouTuber Showdown!
Season 3.
Nick versus Alan. If you guys don't know who these people are, then you are uneducated and you need to go to subscribe to Echo Base Network and Film Threat, respectively.
Yeah.
So, there we go. All right. Now, we are going to start off with... Why don't we go... We'll go upside down this time. We'll go with a hangry table. You can start us off as to who would win in the fisticuffs between Nick and Alan.
All right.
Upside down?
Upside down. Upside down.
Exactly. You got it.
So
Okay,
this is pretty tough. This is like this is gonna be a rough match, right? And I would say that Alan would first launch the attack on Nick with his sort of cynical and world-weary sort of aura encompassing Nick and enveloping him in gloom. However, Nick would be able to counter that because he, as a Star Wars fan, has been enveloped in gloom for the last decade. So Nick would also retaliate with his soothing southern drawl, which would hypnotize Alan and knock him out. And just before Nick is going in for the kill, Alan's chair would break, as it has before. And he would immediately wake up and, realizing that Nick was almost on top of him, roll out of the way, grab his DVD collection, whip out the disc, and start flinging it at him like shuriken. Because obviously, you know, being Asian, he's able to turn anything into a lethal weapon.
Yeah. Okay, checks out.
Nick, however, as a Star Wars fan, would counter with his Force FX Hasbro lightsaber, swinging and batting away all of the flying CDs and DVD discs that Alan is throwing at him of you know, things like Pirates of the Caribbean 5 and Superbad 3, yes.
2.
And then
1. Wrap it up.
Okay, and then Alan would lead Nick onto a giant X on the floor, and before Nick realizes it, a hole would open up from the top, and a giant pile of movie stubs from all of Alan's early access preview movie tickets would descend upon Nick and engulf him, and he would be smothered, and that's it.
Whoa.
So it's Alan.
Okay. All right. That got intense.
Yeah.
Ronnie G, you are now up.
Well, I'm
Who
probably.
wins?
Well, I can't say who wins until I describe how they win, right?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly,
Well, I mean, look.
exactly.
I mean, Nick. I know I have it on good authority that he works hard for a living. You know, he's the kind of guy. He puts in an honest day's work, and I think sometimes when you have it too easy, that can contribute to the pansification of each individual, right? You know, you get a little too cozy, and you get a little weak, and you get lazy. Now, I might be a little bit biased, but I once met Nick, and he seemed like the kind of guy I would not want to get on his bad side. So, I mean, there's that. I know this is all metaphysical stuff, but beyond that, I think that, you know, Hangry did make some good points about, you know, how Alan could use some of his Eastern influence to throw things. So really, if he did get some CDs thrown at him, I'd imagine that Nick could maybe pick up a regular TIE fighter, which is this one here, as opposed to the TIE Advanced, which is over here, and use the solar panel as a shield. And then if TIE fighters were real, he'd be more likely to have the clout to maybe get some air support or get the 501st to show up. In fact, the 501st are real, but would they show up on Nick's behalf? I don't know, but I'm going to give it to Nick because, you know, I just think he, you know, he has it's like same reason I gave it to Seymour. I think that he's more street smart.
Wow. Okay. All right. Mrs. Flu.
Yes.
Go.
All right. Well, so we've got Nick, a good old-fashioned Southern boy, and Alan, who lives in California and likely eats bean sprouts in California. No offense to all the California folks here. Love you all. But, you know, gotta go with a Southern boy because, you know, Nick, I think he's gonna have his southernness and his boots and his different things and he's, you know, he's a meat and potatoes kind of kid and he's beefy.
Whoa.
In a good way, in a very, very good way.
Whoa.
And
Like
you know,
a Texas beef.
Alan is you know, just doesn't have the strength. So I think that Nick would just look at him and make him cower, and then he would just walk up to him and go, "Boof," and he would fall over
So we got
in fear.
Wow. Okay, so that's
Boom.
all right. So it was 2 for Nick, 1 for Alan. Punk Waddle, regale us.
All right.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Like every prize fighter knows they're going into something, right? This isn't some street fight. They've been training forever, right? So let's face it, Alan. He's got Chris Gore over there. They analyze things. They watch the films. They've seen the tapes, right? They're starting every bit of coaches. I'm sorry, Nick's move. I'm getting ahead of myself. Every bit of Nick's moves, you know, they know he's a set. They're like, okay, if we say the right Star Wars reference, it's gonna throw him off balance, right? You know, but you know, Nick's hardened to that stuff. He's moved on. He talks about other pop culture too. You know, he's a contender, right? And so like, okay, we gotta strategize. But then, what they know, but they don't know, is Nick hangs out with a coach. It's not just any coach. It's like they've been having Rocky 1 through how many they ever have montages training. So once again, just like the old people, the battle is won before it starts. Nick, his mind is sharp. He's been working with coach. He's been listening to the Rocky soundtracks for all year long, ready to get up to this battle. And you know what? One look at Alan, and Alan knows, like this isn't the guy I saw on film. This isn't the person that I see on YouTube. This isn't the persona. I don't know what to do. And in that moment, that's all it took. It was over in his mind.
Boom.
Shakalaka.
Shakalaka.
So that's 3 for Nick.
Yeah.
1
Yep.
for Alan.
Yep.
But we love the fact that Alan loves puppets, and if he hears about the show, we don't want him to think that you shouldn't hang out with us.
You're buttering up. Okay, so now this is your chance, Tommy. Try to win them over.
All right. Well, I mean, I gave it my best already. Like I thought that Nick had just so many of these advantages, but Alan just had, you know, just the advantage on Nick. But there is one thing that I kind of forgot. And Sparky Schultz says Alan is a black belt. Yeah, well that works.
Ooh.
But
Does that change the conversation? Does that influence anybody?
No.
Maybe. I'm listening.
No.
Keep talking, Hangry.
Well,
Keep
you
talking.
know, here's the thing, right? This was really close, and there is a way for Nick to come back from this, and it's the fact that he's likely got a massive amount of EU lore stored in his head, and he could probably, you know, consolidate that, focus it, turn it into like a bit of like a ball of theoretical non-canon energy, and if he could direct that at Nick and just overwhelm him with sheer EU lore, then you know that could be tough. So I don't know. I'm starting to waffle a little bit in my decision here.
Whoa.
So,
No.
what you're saying
no
is
waffling.
Nick,
No waffling.
non-canon,
He can
could
waffle.
really blast away the competition.
I think it's very compelling. It's like a spirit bomb from Dragon Ball Z, but made of Star Wars energy. And why not?
Maybe it's
You
more
know
like
what?
Yu Yu Hakusho.
Wheel of the
Non-canon
Force.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
energy.
Wheel of the Force,
Mhm.
Nick.
Which is
Wheel
way
of the
cooler.
Force.
I think it would be like a spirit gun, like Yu Yu Hakusho.
Wow.
You know,
Okay.
in those 501st outfits.
All
You
right.
could just be
So
stomping
that
in those
means-
stormtrooper gear.
What?
There you go.
Okay.
I don't
Anyway,
know.
so
You can't even see their mustaches.
okay. So now at this point,
How am I the only nerd here?
we need to
That's not
do a
nerd thing.
final
It's a
vote.
business entirely.
See, personally, at this point, I would have said that Nick is from the South, so he would have a gun, and Alan's from California, so he would just have his hands, and well, that's how that would go. So that's basically what I think. Anyway, so but
Yeah.
it's not up to me. 'Cause
Boom.
I am the referee extraordinaire, and
Boomstick.
so now starting with a hangry table. Final vote.
You know, I'll stick with my gut. I'm gonna say Alan. That's the guy I chose.
Wow. Okay. Wow, he
Because-
reversed course.
All right.
Nick has that
Seriously.
EU lore, but Alan has seen so many awful films.
That's
like,
true,
you know,
that's
just
true.
his experiences with Battlefield Earth, I think, would be
Oh.
enough to counter that.
Ouch.
Valid.
I have emotional scars from that, so I get
That's
it.
okay. But this is not time to talk about emotional scars because we're voting. DJ Ronnie G, final vote.
Well, although I do find Hangry's reasoning to be quite compelling, I'm still going to have to favor Nick because, in the words of General Franklin from Babylon 5, you should never back down from your words or something like that. I forget what he says, but basically, yeah, stick to your guns. So I'm sticking with
They
Nick.
haven't.
Oh, okay.
Which they have in Texas. Nick and guns. Okay.
There you go. Now, Mrs. Flu, final vote.
Okay. My final vote is going to be Nick. Good old Southern boy.
Which means that
I'm sorry.
Punkwaddle's vote doesn't even matter. But Punkwaddle, you can say what you say.
No. Nick.
What do you mean it doesn't matter?
I don't know. Are you gonna change it?
Well, you don't know if I'm gonna change it.
I don't. You're correct.
You
I mean,
don't
really,
know.
this is more of a personal attack than anything. But go ahead.
Obviously. You know what?
You know that you just totally missed the build in that song right there. There was the opportunity for you to do it. It went da 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 da, and then you didn't say it.
Are you still talking?
Yes, because you're not.
The void. Anyway,
Here it's coming.
I'm gonna go with stick to my guns and Texas and Nick.
Yeah!
There you go.
I appreciate everything you said, Hangry, because I was very
Attaboy.
compelled to very, very contemplate.
Especially those ticket stubs. That's.
Well, those things are like he must have at least 100 of those at this point, right? And you get 100 ticket stubs dumped on you. That'll knock the wind out of your sails.
valid. So that being said, congratulations, guys, on your victories to Charles and to Nick on your victories there. And so that is the end of today's moments of YouTuber Showdown. Hey there! So what you just watched was a portion of our live show that happens on Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern. Apparently you were too lazy to be there that time, but maybe you'll be there next time. Remember, Wednesdays, 9 p.m. Eastern.